What up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Creeps of the Crypt. I'm your host, John, along with my co-host.
Other Alan. What up, guys? Glad to be back.
That's right.
For somewhat of an event, somewhat of a episode we're gonna have today, talking about this one.
This one is actually, I was thinking this is probably going to be the shortest episode, maybe 10 minutes that we ever do, because there's really not much to talk about at all. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it's like if it drags on, but just not a lot happens when you really think about it and put it all together. Like they just drag out.
no.
Well, we'll drag out scenes to make the episode last longer.
I don't even think we could do that. Okay, so this episode is called, season 2, episode 15 of Tales from the Crypt, and it's titled Mute Witness to Murder. And it was directed by Jim Simpson, who has directed nothing. I think he, like, one other movie or maybe 2 other things after this, but nothing else. He's basically a second unit director. And then it was written by Nancy Doyne. I guess I don't know how you pronounce her last name. Doyne? Nancy Doyne. And she has, Doyne. And she's done nothing. I'm looking.
Not a whole lot.
She
not
wrote
a whole lot since she directed this episode. There's like 2 more things, and one in 2012 and one in 2020. But another one of these folks, they do like they get together for an episode and just do one and out, and then they never do anything again.
Yeah, she did she wrote an episode of Tales from the Dark Side prior to this, and then so she was a writer of some sort, but really of nothing. Like she has 2 upcoming projects, I guess, but besides that, just really nothing. So sorry for her, but at least she got something made, and she worked on 2 things that were actually on television. So, but. I don't know. It's surprising that she didn't get a job working, on some other show as a writer full time or whatever. But who knows? I don't know. Anyway, so this episode was released on July 10th, 1990, and it stars Richard Thomas, who I don't know how many people remember the Waltons, but he was on the Waltons. He was also the older. Remember It, the actual old version, not the new remakes that they did? Like the TV with Tim Curry.
With Tim Curry.
Yeah. So I forgot what his name was. It was Billy's brother, right? I believe he was Billy's brother.
Yeah.
Or he
Bill,
was Billy.
I think it was.
Was he Bill?
He was Bill, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was Bill. So he's the older Billy, or older Bill. And he's a talented actor, nonetheless. I mean, I didn't like him in It. I think I don't know, I just didn't like him in It. In this, I like him a lot better, and I never saw the Waltons, so I can't talk about that, but hey, Then it also stars Patricia Clarkson, who's in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, she's been in I remember her mostly for The Green Mile, where she plays I forgot his name, the actor's name, Cromwell, James Cromwell. I remember that right away because he was the father in Revenge of the Nerds. He also played Jack Bauer's dad in season 6 of 24. So
yeah.
So,
What a way to tie it all together.
Yeah.
A shitty season with a shitty episode we have to get into.
Yeah, I know. And so he was her husband, the warden of the prison, and she was sick with like cancer or something, and John Coffey comes and he takes out her poison from him or from her, I should say. And, she gets better. And she's like, it's so fucked up. They couldn't just, the warden didn't even let John Coffey go, say, just go escape, go somewhere, take him to Mrs. What the fuck was this movie? That was the dumbest shit ever. He died for what reason? He didn't kill those fucking kids. Just let him go. They're gonna find this fucking guy in another country, in another state. This is so stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, much rather to talk about The Green Mile, directed by Frank Darabont, than this.
Honestly, yeah.
So why don't you tell us what this episode's all about, since this is your favorite episode?
Oh yeah, my favorite out of this whole solid season 2. Yeah, Patricia Clarkson stars as Suzy. I forgot what her last name was. What was she said? Hastings. But she always they always refer to Miss Hastings in the episode. Oddly, even herself. Yeah,
Mrs. Hastings.
yeah, she's having like this anniversary party with her husband and some friends, and they're hanging out by the balcony, and she for a moment sees I guess the neighbor across from her just pretty much murder his wife. So that was pretty pretty interesting scene. I like the dialogue to that part. We'll get into it in a bit, but yeah, she witnesses it, and then just she gets traumatized by the whole thing, and she can't speak, and then yeah, her husband goes to the doctor that was the one that she saw murder his wife, and he later finds out that yeah, she saw the whole thing, but she can't articulate it at all. She just became mute, much like the title of this episode entails. So that's kind of like the setup of this episode.
It's the whole show. I mean,
Pretty much
that's
the whole episode. That's the setup. That's the premise of the episode.
I mean, what was we going to talk about? It was a costume anniversary party, which made no sense. So everyone was in
that
a
was
costume.
Weird. Yeah, I had to rewatch that part at the beginning. It was like, was this just a costume party or an anniversary party? It was both. It was very, very odd.
Yeah. So she witnesses. I don't know if it's his wife.
White people.
Yeah, I think it's his girlfriend. Actually, I'm not sure because she says a line in there that makes it seem like it's not his wife, like it's a girlfriend or something. So she's like, I'm gonna, because that's the only good funny part I found in that, because like he kills her. So it's basically like Rear Window, right? That movie Rear Window, which they remade into Disturbia, which is like a girl. I mean, actually, I looked at the comic because I wanted to look up the comic. I couldn't find any pictures of the comic. All I found was, the description of what the comic was about, which is exactly what the episode's about. So, it says when Tom Mander and his wife lose. Oh no, that's a different episode. Sorry, a woman sees her neighbor doctor murder his wife. So in the comic version, it says his wife. Probably on the IMDb, it says his wife too, maybe, but I don't believe it says it's his wife in the fucking episode. I mean, we could just assume it is his wife, but she says something. I forgot the line she says when so basically, she's out there looking, she's in love. That's the one thing that they made it abundantly clear that these two are in love with each other, and like madly in love.
That's what they try to allude to, but their on-screen chemistry was little to none. It was not, the performances it wasn't doing that kind of idea that they were trying to get across justice. But yeah, well, that's kind of what we were led to believe.
Well, I'd say
they're madly in love. That's their anniversary. So.
I'd say from her, she's a little bit like a robot with them. The actor is doing his best to present himself like he's in love, and I really believe. And he's, I don't know
what it was to the direction of it, but yeah, Patricia's performance wasn't the best in this one. I mean, they're both not the greatest, but there's some scenes where he's pretty decent, and the others is just outright terrible.
Yeah, this guy that plays the husband's name is he's in fucking House of Cards. He plays a senator in House of Cards in the first season. I don't know if he's in the second season. Fantastic. Reed Birney I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He's great in House of Cards. In this, I think he's actually the standout besides the lead actor. I actually do like the lead actor. I think he did a good job, even though it's like it's a little campy in a sense. Like he's trying. It's like kind of like the Judy, You're Not Yourself Today. The actors there where they were being campy in that episode, like they didn't know what the hell they were doing. In this one, he knows what he's doing, but he's like going over the top. Like he's overacting in it. Like that's what it felt like to me. But this guy that plays the husband I think he's the one of the shining lights in this episode, actually. Hold on.
Yeah, it just depends what scene you're talking about, because it was pretty rough in some parts.
Yeah.
We'll get to it when it happens, so I'll bring it up. That one of the main big parts at the end of the episode. But yeah, I would say that's kind of what we were led to believe. They're madly in love, and then all of a sudden, she can't.
By the way,
she can't utter a word when she witnesses the whole thing transpire across the balcony.
I will say she's very attractive in this episode. The wife, at least when she's looking at the balcony. The rest of the episode probably not. But when she's looking at out the
the
window, I don't, she looks fucking beautiful, and I don't mean that like a creepy way, just like wow. But anyway, so she sees them, she hears them arguing, she looks and she's watching them through her balcony and through their window, and this guy's just holding his head, he's having all these things, like he's annoyed, and she's just talking shit, and then he goes over, takes out a light and just bashes her over the head, and then she falls down. And he walks away, and that was the funny part. Is like he walks away, he's holding his head. Also, she starts talking shit again.
You know, it reminded me. It reminded me of Austin Powers when was it Will Ferrell's character gets killed by Dr. Evil, and and he keeps talking, talking about how he's so much is in pain, and then he keeps coming back after they do whatever to kill him off. That's what it reminded me of. And the prior to her getting her head smashed with the lamp, it was a funny line they wrote. Was like. I think she said something to the effect of like, yeah, you got like you're having an argument. It's like you got a headache. It's like take a fucking aspirin. This is important to me. I don't know. That part cracked me up.
And then
I gotta rewatch that part. She
says that whatever, he goes back, hits her again, and then like starts choking her with the wire of the lamp, and then she dies basically. We assume she's dead as the lights go out. And then this girl was watching it, and Mrs. Hastings was watching, and she starts going, like she lost her voice from this. You know, this is one thing I will say. I don't know. This was written in the 50s, probably, the comic book. And they adapted it for today. And this is just ridiculous. I mean, they did the same thing in Night of the Living Dead, where Barbara, the girl, witnesses her brother get killed by a zombie or a flesh eater or ghoul, whatever he was, you know, in the original 60s film.
Yeah.
And then she just went catatonic for the rest of the movie. So, like, this was like a trope that they did with female actresses, or, I mean, females in general, when they were writing females. So she loses her voice, and then her husband comes. She's like, what happened? What happened? Because he walked away to get her anniversary gift. And then he's freaked out about her, and then he goes to get the doctor. He goes, I got the doctor, he's here. And then she looks at it's fucking the guy who just killed his fucking wife, and he's just so like, I don't want to be here, I can't believe I'm being bothered. But like,
yeah, because he had the cleanup duties to do, and this guy came barging in. He's like, oh yeah, I know, he's a doctor. That's
the thing though, shouldn't he should have not been like so like didn't care and didn't want to be there. He should have been more like nervous, and I didn't want to be here. Like, you know, like he should have been like jittery because he has a body he has to get rid of. But for him, it's like nothing. I think this might not be the first person he's killed. That's what the actor's presenting. Like, this is like just another day for him, you know?
It could be, or it could have just been the direction they gave him that act. I think the directions they had the actors go to, it's kind of all over the place. Like, they weren't. Sometimes they seemed like they weren't sure.
Well,
they were trying to be a bit campy also, but it was just off.
This is the thing when you have directors that aren't directors. You know, they can't give.
Yes, that's the problem. Yeah, that's where we find that same trend in the other episodes where it seemed like it was first time directors.
Mm-hmm. So. So then he's like, well, tell me what happened to her. He's like, what was going on exactly when she lost her voice? And he goes, oh, she was standing out on the balcony when I came out. And then he was like, he looks at her like, what the fuck? You know, like, he looks at her like, oh shit, did you see me? And she's like, looks at him like, yeah, oh shit, I'm caught, you know? And then
yeah, he realized that she saw the whole thing.
Yeah. So then he's like, oh, I gotta go drug her, I guess, basically. And then she goes to attack him, and then the husband gets in the way. She hits the husband with a fire poker in the head.
That part was so dumb.
Yeah, I know. They just had to waste time. This script was like 5 pages. I mean, there's no way.
Yeah, it really was. It's just written on construction paper.
I know. It's just like on a notepad, a little like police pad. You know, they have the little book that they take out, and they like write down the information. That's what it was. It was like it was ridiculous. It was so. This is such a. I don't know. It's not a bad episode in my opinion. I could cut through the entire episode. Basically, he puts her in. He's a doctor, but he's a doctor in an insane asylum, I guess. And
that's all we know about him.
And he admits her into the hospital. I don't know. I forgot the reason why he told the husband why he had like the husband like why, my wife's not crazy.
He just told, yeah, he just told her like she had some sort of psychotic breakdown or something, and now she's like unstable. Just whatever like bullshit terminology he uses to make it sound like it's a serious thing. And the husband just ate it all up like an idiot and just let everything happen like so quickly. Like one scene, she's like, yeah, she thinks that she was attacking him, but like he was trying to attack the other guy, and the husband got in the way, and then he just got gaslit by the doctor that she needed to be admitted to the insane asylum. American Horror Story season whatever. All of a sudden, this just very contrived. That was kind of the part I didn't like the most.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like nobody's looking into this. He just admitted this person like that.
Well, yeah. Well, I will say because she hit him, the husband believes like could only think that because she like they love each other.
Moment, yeah.
They so much love each other and everything, and all of a sudden now she's attacking him, and it's like. So he says that later to his sister, right? Because later on there's a scene with the husband and the sister, and he's telling her like, she didn't even recognize me. She attacked me or whatever. So
yeah, it's like a one-time thing. Like they could have, I don't know, they could have built up to it or something.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't think you should get admitted right away just for that one-time incident. But yeah, I mean for the purpose of the episode, we'll allow this leap of logic.
Yeah, and then
into the courtroom.
He sends the husband away, like, and he admits her into it. She's in a padded room in the straitjacket because she's shown, I don't know, one sign of physicality. It's like she didn't attack anybody else, but because of this, she gets put in this room, and then the doctor's, doing the Batman villain thing where he tells everything. He tells her his diabolical plan.
That was another cheesy moment, and then like an idiot, like it was gonna come back later. He was having some issues like breathing and stuff, and then he was talking to her about him needing his medication whenever there's too much noise or too much physicality, I guess, happening. Which spoilers, which will come to play later on.
Which doesn't make any sense. I guess getting aggravated, but he doesn't really scream at the husband. And Mr. Hastings, so it doesn't make sense. Like, but that's
like
just
that little skirmish that was happening. That's enough to trigger him. Like I can't imagine
killing his wife. You would think
trying to get laid. And you think all that tension and build that was gonna kill this guy,
or killing his wife. Like he didn't hold his chest after that happened. So this it's just like if the writer just wrote whatever the fuck.
Kind of just threw that in there. Threw that in there as a reason to have that be the
it was in the comic
callback later on.
Yeah, it's in the comic book. So he does have heart problems and he dies because of whatever. But so this is the interesting thing. Cut through all the bullshit. The husband's trying to go and he's trying to cut off the husband from seeing her. The husband's trying to figure out what happened to her. She thinks she can find solace, I guess, or like somebody that will be able to like communicate with her with the nurse, who just doesn't give a shit. The nurse is just like I had to deal with. She goes, at least you're not one of these like psychos that I have to, like the other ones that they'll fight me or spit at me or try to attack me when I'm trying to feed them. At least you're a good girl, basically. And she's like, yeah. And then she realizes that this nurse doesn't give a shit, and she's not gonna help her no matter what. So she's like, oh, I'm just stuck here forever. So then the husband comes back one day because the doctor just cut him off completely. I think there was a scene where the husband goes to the doctor. And he's trying to like get information, like how long is my wife gonna be here, basically? And the doctor's office is completely black. I don't get this. This is just like trying to say evil. He's evil. The doctor's evil. And the doctor presses a button and all these TVs show up and he's monitoring just her. Like there's like 17 cameras.
That was so stupid.
Yeah.
We already know he's evil. Like why do they have to go so dramatic with this?
Oh my God.
The nine television screens here, like
And it's
Surprised
just
they didn't go the whole room like the Matrix.
yeah, it's just of her. It's just her, like all maybe
How
different
many
days.
How many angles you need?
He's got like one real close up. Like I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Got one in the toilet, you know.
Yeah, one
This guy's a fucking freak.
inside the toilet facing up. It's like, well, I have to see what her bowels look like because maybe that could
I need to make sure the drugs are working.
maybe she has a virus in her throat, and if I see her stool samples, if I can watch how they, what a weirdo. But yeah, everything is very 90s. This is like a 90s designed room, like because I believe because this is like after this. I think Wall Street came out in the 80s, right? So this would be like Wall Street kind of, but not really because it's like modernish. Supposed to be modern. But you can't really tell because everything's so dark. And then when the doctor leaves, all the lights are off. He doesn't even have a lamp in his office, I don't think. All the doctor and the guy leaves.
How the hell is this guy working here in pitch black? Because the husband leaves and looks like he just needs to close the door and the room is pitch black.
Pitch black. That's what happens. The nurse comes in and talks, and then he goes, "I'm not letting the husband come back to see her. He's I don't know what the fuck. He's causing her instability, right? So we won't let him visit his wife anymore." So then she goes, "Okay, doctor." So she walks out and the door closes and it's just black. He's just sitting there in the dark like a fucking weirdo. And then it goes back to the husband who's like, he's like, I guess it's like who knows how long after, but he's still thinking about his wife because again they made it clear in the beginning of the episode that they're in love and they love each other because she's even telling a story how they met. Like, can you imagine two people on the same corner at the same time? And her friends are looking like, oh, please, we've heard this story a million times. Like, get over it. So like they're in love. So he's thinking like, what the fuck happened? What could have happened? So I guess who knows how long it's been since he's seen his wife. So he goes, I want to see my wife. And he goes, okay, no problem. He goes, no more TVs. Like, I don't want to see her on the fucking TV. I want to see her. So he lets her in. And he starts talking to her, like running, like, this is what happened. This is what happened. Like, you were in the living room. You must have heard something. And then she makes noise and she's shaking her head. No. He goes, you saw something? And she's like, yes. What'd you see? You saw something. What'd you see? And then he's like, we're looking out. And he's like, was it the doctor? And then she's like, yeah. And then he's like, oh, fuck. Like, I fucked up. I brought you to the doctor. The doctor did something that you saw that made you lose your voice. And then all of a sudden, Dr. Trask, right? Trask? He's watching and like his lips are curling. He's getting all
didn't he
sweaty.
forget that this guy had fucking TVs in his room watching them?
And he's already
hear all this.
He's already
prepping the needle.
Yeah, and it's and he's like, oh. So then he goes and he just jabs him with the fucking needle. This humongous, ridiculously big needle. It's like a fucking Looney Tunes like syringe.
Yeah, that's
it's
the
so
part
big.
where I was saying like the husband his acting was terrible with the needle in his neck.
Oh, I mean, well, I guess, but I think the husband is probably the shining light in this episode actually, and he's fantastic in House of Cards. Like you should watch House. If you watch, he plays such a doofy, bumbling, like clueless loser. Like this is really like he's a really good actor. I like this guy. I think he's a good job. But anyway, he's dead, and he dies, and then well, he's about to die basically, like because he goes, whatever I injected you, it's gonna kill you. And then she fucking after he tries to attack the doctor tells on the camera, I sent Mr. Hastings home, or whatever, right? Like.
Yeah, I don't know what he was going with these deliveries he was giving. He's trying to sound like really smart, but also cold and calculating.
And creepy.
None of this, and creepy kind of, I guess. But none of it really landed with me.
No,
I think it's more so the direction. I think it was more the director's direction. This whole thing. Cause I think, like you said, the husband probably is a better actor since this episode. So I think it's just all about how they were directed, and the script was really not that great.
Oh, are you talking about the husband or the doctor?
Oh, both. I think they're both probably are better actors than this episode would showcase.
Well,
but that's the problem. Like we were saying, I think this is due to the fact of first-time directors.
Well, yeah. Well, he he's dead already or dying, and Dr. Trask puts his foot on his neck. I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking rough.
That part was kind of cool, but
yeah, that's cold.
It's like self-defense. So he just snaps his neck. How's he gonna explain any of this?
Well, no, I don't know what he does with these bodies. He just keeps them in the fucking.
Plus, the staff doesn't seem like they know anything that's going on. They're just there to collect a paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. While we were talking about it, I think I sent you the link to the actual comic for this episode. And
what the fuck? You found it? I was looking for it. I didn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, I found it.
Well,
I was sifting through it, and it seems much like the last episode we reviewed. It seems like there's more interesting things going on here than the episode we watched. But it's similar ideas. I think the whole premise of this I think could have worked better in its own way if had it been written better and had competent directors behind it. I think it could have been a solid idea. I guess to play homage to Hitchcock and Rear Window, they could have done their own kind of version of that.
Well, it depends when this comic issue came out. What year does this issue say it was released?
What I mean by homage, more so homage for like the show as they're making this.
Oh, the show, yeah.
There are some, for the show to do the homage of that movie would have been an interesting approach to expand upon. Well, the comic itself is part of the Crypt of Terror issues. There's like a story within there. They said it was 1950, and I think looking it up, Rear Window came out in 54.
Oh, well, maybe Hitchcock stole it from this.
Maybe. Well, that aspect, like just witnessing the murder. Yeah, it's just.
Well, it's not Hitchcock. It would be the writers. Maybe the writers stole it from this. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
Although, I was thinking that, look, back in the day, a lot of writers, they would write books, and like Rod Serling took a lot of ideas from a lot of books for his Twilight Zone. He wrote a lot of his own shit too, but people don't read that much anymore. Not many. And Rod Serling was like, he read a lot. So, some of the writers.
Well, that's the thing. What they say, artists are inspired by other works in a way, regardless of, how original it may be. Back then, all they had was books or probably radio teleplays, and now people just have watching remakes of original movies and going off of that as terms of their inspiration for writing movies.
I got an idea I'll tell you later. I got an idea. I'm gonna start writing it, I think, soon. If I ever fucking have the time to write. I should have plenty of time, but I don't know. Anyway, it's just like things have been so depressing lately. So this scene was kind of weird because the nurse even looked like, what the fuck? She gave the nurse, like, I guess they hose her down, and she has her own shower in her own room, so she's not communicating with any other, like, nobody even knows she's there really, besides the doctor and this nurse and maybe one orderly. Like, nobody else knows. Yeah. So I guess they hosed her down in the shower, and then the doctor's like, I'll take the towel. And he goes in there, and, he puts the towel, and the nurse looks at him like, what the fuck? Like, you're not supposed to be doing this. And he basically tells her, I'm going to give you a lobotomy. Like, I can't trust, because you are going to get your voice back, so I can't trust you. So then she's like, she starts to cry. She says, Paul. She says it out loud, like his name, her husband's name. So then you realize, like, oh, her voice came back. But that's not used for anything at the end. So at the end, he comes in to do it to her. She just attacks him. He lets her out of her fucking straitjacket. I don't know why. Like, this makes no fucking sense. But whatever. Well, he lets her out of her straitjacket. She attacks him. Like, he fights back, and then he gets, his heart problems again. And he's like, call for help, call for help. Oh, and then he goes, oh, no, you can't even speak. And she goes, yes, I can. And he goes, and then he's, no, first he just looks at her like shocked. And then he realized he's supposed to be having a heart attack again. So then he starts holding his heart again. And then he goes, you will let me die? It was like, yeah, fucker, you were going to take her brain out. Well,
And my
lobotomy is what
brain.
they put a needle through your eyeball into the back of your brain, and oh my god, that is some terrible shit to me. Like, when I investigated actual asylum, used to be an asylum, and where children were, left back in the 50s and 60s. And even up to the 80s, dude, because Geraldo, or 70s, because Geraldo investigated that place in the 70s. That's how Geraldo got famous, for investigating the place I investigated. So you feel like, to think that this building I was in housed a bunch of these children, that they would probably, like the downstairs, they could probably do this to the ones that would not stop. Or somebody that, like, I just saw another movie recently, which they said he's autistic in the movie, which I don't think that's, maybe it's autism. It's called When Evil Lurks, and one of the kids is autistic, but he's like all like a cripple, like all like a pretzel. His body's all contorted and things, right? And he's like, he can't talk. So like somebody like that back then, they would give lobotomies to, like,
Yeah.
because they wouldn't stop. They would continue to make noise, and somebody with dementia too, an old person. There were old people in this place too. They had wards with old people in there that have dementia or something. They would give lobotomies to them too. So that's a horrible. I mean, this is just terrible. And he's over here gonna do this to her, and then he's like, I can't breathe. Please, just get help. You're gonna let me die? You were gonna let me die.
That was a weird turn after all that.
Yeah. And she goes,
He's trying to get some sympathy.
yeah. He goes, you deserve to die, murderer. And then she goes, just terrible. Like you.
Ugh.
And then he dies. That was a corny line.
And that was terrible. Yeah. Made me think of Jim Norton going, yuck. That was just a terrible line.
Yeah. What? And then she goes to the camera that he's been talking to, and I don't know, her smile kind of sexy too. And she's like, there's been a terrible accident. Dr. Trask has had a heart attack, or is dead. He's dead. Send somebody. She just starts smiling. I don't know, that smile was sexy. That
part was strange. That part was weird. I don't get what the point was of that whole scene right there. Yeah, it didn't work for me. That was weird. It seemed like they were trying to do some kind of David Lynch style ending. I think they just watched Twin Peaks prior to filming the episode, and they just wanted to end it like that.
Maybe.
It came out it was out during that same year, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, in the book, I'm looking at the pages of the comic. It's basically it's but
not even
the comic is literally 4 pages.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
And it's
pretty straightforward, much like this episode.
Yeah. But again, this episode for me, is not terrible. It's just whatever.
Nah, it's pretty bad. I'd rather watch the Terry Hatcher episode.
Really? I'm the opposite, actually.
It just drags, man. Like, there's just nothing there that's keeping my attention. There's no suspense. There's no any kind of twist. I mean, you could say the twist of her being able to talk was something. I don't know if she was just holding it in the whole time just to egg him on, and then once she learned that he could have a heart attack at some point. But I don't think that was the intent. It's just not one I would rewatch again. I just had I even had a hard time rewatching it the second time. I never liked it from the get-go. I'm really try to look at any positives to this, but there's not a whole lot there for me besides the Crypt Keeper monologues.
Yeah, you hated this even from the beginning. And I will say, let me say this: I think yesterday was the first time I ever saw this episode. Most of the time, I would watch this and I'd probably pass out. Like when I was older, when I was younger, I don't remember it. But like I would not pass out watching this. Like I'd be watching a bunch of them, right? And then somewhere along, like one of the episodes, I'll pass out. And I would always, this one, I think probably Lower Birth, because I never really liked Lower Birth. Or even Corman's Calamity. Before watching it again, the last time we saw it, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Before watching it again, that wasn't one that I really particularly liked either. So I'd watch the one the fitting punishment. That was the last good one. Then I'd probably fall asleep right there, and then I'd wake up and it'd be like him talking to her while she's looking at him, the doctor, in the padded room, and then I'd be like, ugh, this one, and I'd skip it, right? Because I didn't like it. I never even watched it. So I literally watched it for the first time yesterday. I believe I told you that. I was like, I think this is the first time I'm actually sitting down watching this episode, and I'm like,
yeah, pretty much. I mean, it doesn't rain anything in your head, so
no.
It's pretty much brand new.
And I said, this isn't that bad, in my opinion. Now, I think she's actually very pretty in this episode for some reason. Maybe because I don't know. I'm just very attracted to her.
That's gonna adjust your score.
Yeah, I think so.
That alone, like, but if she showed some tits, like, and
no, it would have been 5 stars.
Yeah, it would have been 5 stars.
No, but like I think she's very attractive in this episode. I think she's fairly sexy in a lot of things she does. She has this aura about her. But anyway, even when she's dying of cancer, the green vial, no, she's not sexy. I forgot what else she's in. She's in something else that I know her like. Let me look at her.
Yeah, very tenacious vibe in Green Mile.
Yeah, she's. Oh my goodness. Let me see something because there's something tenacious. She's in that I know her from more than anything than Green. She's in Carrie.
I already like how based this comic is. I know I'm getting off track here. I was looking at the cover, Mute Witness to Murder. The top says, women are known as the talkative sex, but I never fully realized the power of the unspoken word until I became mute witness to murder.
She was in 6 Feet Under. I think that's probably where I know her from the most. Maybe. Maybe. Anyway.
I'm struggling right now, man. I can't think of 5 positives on this episode. Normally I can, because it's weird how things change, because I remember not liking Till Death as much, and then we watched it again. No, appreciating it more. And
no, you loved Till Death. You loved it. I mean, Till Death. What's the one?
Was it Till Death?
No, not Till Death. The one you just
I remember not liking
Lower
it
Birth.
as much.
You loved Lower Birth. You loved that one.
I would say I loved it. But
You were like, oh, that's great.
I thought the ending was a good surprise, but now that we watched it again, yeah, there's definitely some flaws with it.
The
But I
Untouchables
get
is
it.
where
I get what they were trying to do.
The Untouchables is where I know her from. She played Kevin Costner's wife in The Untouchables.
Well, that's the difference. I'd rather watch Lower Birth than this one.
So I'm the complete opposite. I would much rather watch this than Lower Birth. The Lower Birth is so. And this one, like I said, I though he's being a little bit, for dramatic purposes, a little over the top, and she has nothing to really do, at all. Really, she really has nothing to do. And I thought the husband was fairly good. I did not know he was in House of Cards until doing this podcast right now, because he does not look the same as he does in House of Cards, but he's fantastic in House of Cards. I thought he was fine, and I thought his performance was one of the other shining lights of the episode. Besides this, there's nothing. You got just 3 actors, and one can't talk, so you know what I mean? And they do the most they possibly can with this episode. I don't know why they picked this. Why anyone, even the producers, I don't know why they picked this strip to do. Because this is there are other ones that are.
Well, looking at it, I mean, they could have made it work, but they just needed better people involved.
I don't. But maybe that's another thing that is detriment to this show, is that when it's not the right people directing. But then again, even without the right people directing, it's still heading above and beyond, like Freddy's Nightmares that I have to watch, or Tales from the Dark Side. It's much better production value. Like, all the right people are working behind the scenes. I told you this before. Right. I said, this is why Hollywood now. I said, it's probably because of this. Something like this, where production companies or whatever saw that they let a bunch of nobodies, and no offense to them, because they're just friends that start directing and writing things, right? That they weren't really known to do that, because as we've seen, as we go through all these episodes, a lot of them haven't directed anything or wrote anything prior, right? And they actually make a pretty decent show. Like, even this episode is fucking a million times better than any Freddy's Nightmares episode. Well, then again, but the full episode, because Freddy's Nightmares, the problem is they'll have it's an hour, and then one half will be good, you know, and then the other half of the same episode or a different story, but it's the same fucking episode will be shit. So that's the biggest problem with Freddy's Nightmares. So with that, this is just, and the production value is 100 times better, even though there's only like 3 sets on this too. They spend no money on this. But
the dark office room,
yeah.
the room that she's locked up in,
and the
their
apartment. Yeah, that's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
no, it's rough, man. I'd rather watch Judy than this one. That's how bad it is for me. I didn't like it. It's still
no, I'd rather watch Judy over this too. Yeah.
I think we could say for sure, because I thought there were other ones that were a little rough. But this is probably the worst episode of the season.
No,
I think it is.
I don't think so. A lower
Sound
birth.
off, people.
Lower
birth is
lower
not
birth
as bad.
is worse, and
at least he had something there. You had something there that was somewhat interesting. Even though it was a bit flawed, it could have.
The Thing from the Grave is worse.
Better. Nah, I'd rather watch that.
No.
Just because Terry Hatcher's in it, at least.
She's not showing anything. She doesn't even show. She barely shows skin in that. And mind you, I think she's nude in Tango and Cash. But then again, that is Sylvester Stallone and Kevin Costner, so I understand. But I think she's nude in Tango and Cash, or she has like something covered. Well, anyway, I'm just saying. Like, look, I'd rather watch. This is not an episode I'd watch. I'd
rather wipe my ass with 3 seashells.
Jesus Christ.
Rewatch me witness to
no,
witness to murder.
I wouldn't rewatch this. I'd skip it, but I would I'd watch this over The Thing from the Grave. I would watch this over that.
Sound off, everybody. Thing from the Grave is. I'd rather rewatch that.
No. Well, what was your rating for this then? 1?
Whew. Yeah, 1 out of 5.
Wow.
I gotta be fair and honest about it. 1 out of 5.
Wow.
You know what I would make? I think there's some tweaks there. They could have made it a better episode. I would say. If we took the cast from The Thing from the Grave and put them in here, we had
Miguel Ferrara. Yeah, I think that would have been better.
Could have been the Doctor.
It would have been much better. Yes.
Could have been there.
Yeah.
And then change it up a bit, but still keep it the same. If I had to rearrange things, I would still
that would have been much better.
Not being mute, like telling the husband what happened. Like
well, then it wouldn't
maybe afterward. Let's just say hypothetically, she witnesses it. The husband goes to get the doctor, and she realizes it's the doctor, and he goes to the bathroom for a second. Maybe he overhears them, and the wife tells the husband that what she saw, and then the doctor kills him, and that's when she goes into that shock where she can't speak, and that's how he was able to get her into the psych ward. So I think tweaking things a little bit like that could have been a better.
Well, maybe if he assaulted her,
something
like what I mean.
They could have reworked this a bit better.
Like to make him more.
Yeah, we could have made a better episode here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But too bad I wasn't born when this came out.
It's interesting to the comic though too, because like I don't know. Oh, I see what the comic did. Interesting. How you see in one of the pages of the comic when she's thinking in the bubble, right? The bubble.
Yeah.
The cloud when she's thinking, then it like the writing comes out of the cloud, and then she's like question mark, like, oh, I could speak, right? That's funny how they did it in the comic. In the comics
they could have maybe done it in the show, like you just hear her thoughts.
Well, she said she a
little bit.
Oh yes, that's true too. That would have been voiceover.
You can read her thoughts. Yeah.
If she had voiceover, or you could hear her thoughts. Yeah, that would have been much better. At least had
something better to do.
Yes,
besides
you're 100% right. You're 100%
there you go.
right.
See,
because
we could tweak this and made it better.
Because like we're supposed to get that she was trying to get the nurse to help her from her facial expression, which I mean the actress did as much as she possibly could. Yeah. But anyway, so what would you give this? 1? That's your rating?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5. This is gonna be the lowest rating I'll give. There might be future episodes to come that it could match that rating.
Well,
so we'll have to see.
I think I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5. and I'm lowering it from what I was gonna give it because I was like, this is not that bad, but you went so low.
That's fair.
And I was like, well, because I think I gave the thing from the grave a 2.5, and I said I would rather watch this over the thing from the grave. So I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna give it 2.5. I can't give it a 2. I'm gonna give it 2.5 out of because I would still watch this over the thing from the grave. I really would. I just like the Hitchcock feel of somebody peering into somebody else's. This is a Hitchcock or the writers of Rear Window ripped off this comic. This comic idea was probably fantastic back when it came out. Definitely they ripped this off. And the writers from Rear Window, because it's almost except they changed it. They said we'll put it a guy instead of a girl, and the guy, the reason why he's home is because he has a broken leg and he saw a murder and blah blah blah, you know. And they drew out a whole fucking movie out of that, and everyone was like, "Oh, critically acclaimed." And William M. Gaines is holding his balls like, "I wrote this first." But
was here.
Yeah. So I give it a 2.5. I think that's fair. I was gonna give it a 3, so I can't go down to a 2 because of year 1. So I give it a 2.5 out of 5. I would watch this over the thing from the grave. I definitely would. I would not. I would watch this. I would not watch this over. What's another one? I don't necessarily. Four-sided triangle. I'd watch. I'd watch this over fucking Judy. I would watch this over Judy. And I don't think I rated Judy that bad. And I think I still would watch this over Judy because, at least. But there's nothing here anyway. Like, this is just a nothing episode. So, whatever. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. But you could tweet at us at Creeps of Crypt on X. I guess I don't know if you still call it a tweet. Message us over there and let us know what you thought about this episode. Or on YouTube. We have a YouTube. So you could go on find this video on YouTube and message us and let us know.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I wanted to throw in a quick plot twist here before we wrap it up. I'd say I was looking up Hitchcock's inspiration for Rear Window. So apparently it was based on a short story in 1942. It had to be murder, which looking up the synopsis, it lists this kind of same description. Hal Jeffries, a temporarily disabled man, becomes obsessed with watching the lives of his urban neighbors. Seated in a chair by his rear window, Jeffrey believes he has witnessed murder. So this is 8 years prior to this comic strip coming out.
And then the comic ripped it off, which
probably inspired. Probably inspired by
yeah, we should inspired.
Oh, I'm gonna say inspired.
Yeah.
So here we go. That's threw in a little wrench there just to add on to it because I was curious what the inspiration was.
Yeah. I don't know.
But again, I mean, that's how influential Hitchcock is.
I think this is still better than fucking the Lower Berth. I don't know what I gave Lower Berth. I gotta remember what I gave Lower Berth.
Still on that one.
I gotta write these. We gotta write these down. What our ratings are.
I think we gotta. Yeah, I gotta go back and write.
I gotta go back and
so we can reference it. Put it on a notepad.
Because this would be fucked up if I gave Lower Berth a higher rating. I think I did because of the special effects. That's what. Because that was something. I mean, what was the special effects here? Covering fucking Richard Thomas's mole.
Yeah, and then that's about it, really.
That's his name, right? Effects. Yeah, Richard Thomas. His mole on his face that's always been annoying to me. No offense, Mr. Thomas. I know you can't.
Little Weinstein mole.
Yeah.
You just want to wipe it off every time you see it.
They did put like a lot of heavy tan on him. They almost made him look like fucking Enoch.
You know what? He's actually he's a bit extra. Extra tan.
Yes, he is extra tan in this episode. But
even though his character's in the dark, seems like all the time.
Yes, they did that on purpose
he takes into his asylum.
No, I feel bad. This guy's he's a good actor, I guess. I mean, he's still working, you know. Oh shit! Yeah. He was on NCI.
I mean, all three of these folks seems to be still doing stuff.
Yeah, Patricia Clarkson. Shutter Island. I did not remember. Oh yes, that's what I remember her from the most. Damn, she still looks good. Shit. Because it's Shutter Island. She's an older woman. She's playing who? What does she play? She plays the Rachel Dolezal, right? Rachel Dolezal. No, Rachel Dolezal is that bitch that pretended she was black. She was really white.
Oh yeah.
And she's got an OnlyFans now. Oh God. But
Goodness.
she played Rachel something, and she was the second Rachel, I guess, the one that was hiding in the cave when Leo scales down the cave and sees her. Another episode where it's in the second. But yeah, she's in there in that, and she's great. She's a really good actress, actually. Anyway, she's been in a bunch of stuff, so she's a good actress. They got a good. I think everyone in here is pretty good. They thought again that would elevate it, but sometimes some actors take things and go the wrong direction, and unless you have a director that can guide you into the right direction without stepping on your lines and telling you how to deliver lines, you should never do that as a director, but you just guide them in what you want. Then you have this guy acting ridiculously evil and sinister and dark and just too much. So, I mean, I don't know.
My take, I think it's just the actors interpreted it how they read it. I don't think the directors had much input. That was a safe bet.
Yeah.
They're probably just nervous. Like, I don't want to step on any toes. I'm just gonna sit in the director's chair and that's it.
Yeah.
Say action that I directed the episode.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know what you thought about this episode on X or on YouTube, wherever you are.
Yeah, drop a comment.
Yeah.
Let us know if you'd rather watch Lower Berth, because I feel like we're gonna get. You should put a poll up if you could do that.
Nobody even. Anyway, yeah, I'll do that for the nobody. The people listen, but they never fucking comment.
We can get one vote on it. That's all I need. I need the validation.
Yeah. All right.
I'll vote.
That's the episode for this week. And next week, we're bi-weekly. The next episode we're going to be doing is going to be a great one. One of the best ones in the entire series, in my opinion. One of my favorites since I was a kid. I remember this one so vividly when I was watching it when I was a kid. And I remember watching it again on Fox because I was like, how are they going to do this one? Because there were certain episodes you wanted to see, because they aired this on Fox, I believe. And it said HBO's Tales from the Crypt, the intro. So I wanted to see.
Oh yeah, I remember you told me that.
Yeah, I wanted to see.
Were they edited? Do you
yes, they were, and they had commercials and shit. So I wanted to see how they were gonna do this. That next episode we're gonna see. So, and they did it. They showed everything almost. I don't think they took anything out, which was interesting. But they did do in the intro of the Tales from the Crypt. They sped it up. As soon as you get to inside the door, actually, I think they sped up the whole way. Oh no! Once the bookcase opens and you go down the stairs, it went super fast, all the way down to him screaming. So they cut the music. They cut time. So that's how they did that one. But anyway, yeah. So that's that. And the next episode we're gonna do is gonna be a great one. I love that one. That was one of the best. And the next three are actually really good. So it's a good way to end the season with the next three. So
yeah, just a reminder, it's Television Terror is the next one.
Yes. And then the one after that's a good one, and the one after that's a great one too. But yeah, I will talk to you guys next time, I guess.
Peace.